I walked into my kitchen at sunrise and saw my husband's phone buzzing on the counter. A new message lit the screen from my son's fiancée. I have the test. Positive. Don't worry, Franklin, he'll think the baby is his. I dropped the mug. Porcelain shattered. Before I could breathe, a shadow filled the doorway. It was my son Noah. His face was blank. He looked at me and said, "Mom, I already know, and it's much worse than you think. Hello and welcome. I'm grateful you're here with me today. Before I begin, tell me what city you're listening from. Type it in the comments. I read every one. Take a deep breath with me and let me take you into this story. My name is Miriam. I run a two-person bookkeeping service from home. It's not glamorous, but it paid for Noah's college and kept our house in Savannah bright and safe. Today was supposed to be the happiest day of his life. White chairs lined our oak-shaded lawn, lanterns draped from branches. I had checked each bulb twice. The florist was already humming in the driveway. I had been awake since 4 a.m., fussing with the seating chart, trying not to think about the distance that had crept into my 26-year marriage. My husband, Franklin, used to be the man who remembered my tea just right. Lately, he remembered only passwords and conferences. He said he'd left early to pick up a special gift for the bride's parents. He said a lot of things. Then the phone buzzed. That message, the positive test, the promise that my son would never know. A scream rose up in me but never made it past my teeth. Instead, I reached for the island to steady myself, and that was when Noah appeared. "Mom," he said quietly, "I'm going to tell you everything, but we have to be careful. Noah is steady. He plans. He rarely shows fear." 2 weeks earlier, he had asked me a strange question. "Do you think Eden really loves me?" Eden was beautiful, polished, the daughter of a well-known attorney and a gallery owner. She had a laugh like tiny bells. But sometimes, when Noah talked about building his own landscaping firm, her eyes would drift to Franklin, the way people watch the tide coming in. Noah said he noticed little things. Eden always needed Franklin's help with investments. She picked up his favorite scotch. She laughed hardest at his smallest jokes. Franklin called it mentorship. I called it a pebble in my shoe I couldn't shake out. Noah guided me to the pantry, shut the door, and lowered his voice. "I found messages last week." She was texting him from a second phone. I didn't say anything because I needed proof. "I hired someone, Aunt Ray. My sister Ray is a retired detective. After 2 decades on the force, she opened a small private investigations office. She's practical, ethical, and allergic to drama. But family is family. I asked her to follow them. Just long enough to be sure," Noah said. He showed me photos on his phone. Franklin and Eden entering the back hallway of a boutique hotel. Franklin and Eden leaving disheveled. Franklin buying a thin velvet box at a jewelry counter. The receipt time-stamped minutes before. I felt the room tilt. Then Noah swiped to a screenshot. A DNA test kit order confirmation. Overnight shipping. My stomach dropped through the floor. "She told him last night," he said, voice flat. "She's pregnant." "And the message this morning," I started. "Not mine," he said. "Mom, I checked the due date against our timeline. It doesn't add up, but that's not the worst part." My skin prickled. "Then what is?" "Aunt Ray found bank transfers," he said. "From Dad. Not just cash withdrawals, loans. Against your retirement." My throat dried out. "How much?" "68,000 in 18 months, and he forged your signature." I folded to a stool, trying to pull air into my lungs. The florist's van door slid shut outside. Time did not care about our tragedy. "We confront them," I said. "We stop this now." "No," Noah said, steady as granite. "If we confront in private, they'll spin it. He'll call you hysterical. She'll cry. And tomorrow people will call this a misunderstanding." He was right. Franklin could talk high. It's way out of a burning building. He has made a career of pleasant lies. "Then what?" I asked. "We do it right," Noah said. "Aunt Ray has an evidence packet, and she can help us set up the projector. Everyone thinks it's a slideshow of baby pictures. It won't be." I stared at my son. He had been a gentle boy. Now I saw a man who would protect his future with a surgeon's precision. "Mom," he said softly, "I'm not marrying someone who betrayed me and stole from you, and I'm not letting Dad walk away clean." The doorbell rang. I flinched. It was Ray. She stepped inside like a shadow and shut the door. She carried a hard case, a manila envelope, and the posture of someone who had already done the worst part of her job. "I'm sorry," she said, voice low. "But there's another layer you need to hear." I nodded. "Tell me." "The hotel meets are twice a week, the payments match." But I went further. I traced a quiet monthly transfer going back years. It leads to a small house 25 miles away. A woman named Isla, and a boy named Jamie. The air went thin again. "Jamie is 16, Ray continued. "I ran a public records search. The father isn't listed, he has Franklin's eyes." I gripped the countertop. "A son?" "I needed to be sure," Ray said. "I obtained a used coffee cup of Jamie's and, Miriam, I know this is a lot, collected a discrete sample from Franklin. The lab ran a non-legal comparison. The probability of paternity is 99.998%. Everything inside me fell quiet. For a full minute, the only sound was the fridge humming. Then I spoke. "How long?" "The payment started 16 years ago," Ray said. "It looks like it began when Noah was a freshman in high school." The narrative I had protected for 2 decades unraveled in one morning. The late meetings, the untraceable cash, the sudden generosity with Eden, and now a secret son. "How does this change today?" I asked, forcing my voice to remain level. "It clarifies your leverage," Ray said. "There's fraud against you, potential corporate fraud on Eden's side. I found shell invoices routed through a company in her mother's maiden name. And there's the pregnancy." The word sat between us. Pregnancy. My son's wedding day. "Do we have proof it's Franklin's?" I asked. "We don't have test results," Ray said. "But the timeline doesn't support Noah as the father. We have messages that suggest Franklin believes he is. We moved like a small, quiet army." Ray disguised herself in a caterer's jacket and checked cables beneath the tent. Noah coordinated with the planner and the string quartet as if nothing were wrong. I laid the envelope in my clutch. Copies of bank statements, forged signatures contrasting mine, hotel receipts, the DNA letter about Jamie. I had already signed divorce papers 2 days ago without fully knowing why. My body must have known. Guests arrived, white linen, summer suits. The bride's mother glided across the lawn like a ship. Franklin, impossibly handsome in navy, kissed my cheek with a mouth that had betrayed me. He whispered, "Perfect day, isn't it?" I said, "Perfect." At 4 o'clock, the music swelled. Noah stood at the arbor my hands had sanded and painted. Eden appeared at the path, lace and sunlight. Gasps rose like birds. She looked ethereal, she looked like a promise. Halfway down the aisle, her eyes flicked to Franklin, the kind of look that speaks a paragraph. I saw his throat move. The officiant spoke about vows and truth. The words circled us like a gentle river. I watched the people who had believed we were a certain kind of family. I remembered that for many years we had been. "If anyone here has any reason these two should not be married," the officiant said, "speak now or forever hold your peace." Silence. The kind that vibrates. I stood. A murmur moved through the rows like wind in tall grass. Franklin's fingers gripped the arm of his chair. Eden's smile stuttered. "I'm sorry to interrupt," I said, my voice calm. "But we have been asked to speak if there is a reason." "I have several. Sit down, frankly." N hissed. "You'll regret this." "I already do," I said. I nodded once toward Ray. She pressed a small remote in her pocket. The big screen behind the arbor, disguised by greenery, lit up. The first image, Franklin and Eden in the hotel corridor, timestamp visible. The second, the jewelry receipt. The third, a screenshot of last night's message. "I have the test. Positive." "Don't worry, Franklin, he'll think the baby is his." Gasps collided. Someone dropped a program. Eden's mother rose halfway, then sank back down. "These are not confusions," I said evenly. "This is intent." Franklin stood too fast, knocking his chair. "This is a fabrication," he barked. "Photos can be edited. This is cruel." "One more," I said. Bank statements filled the screen, withdrawal patterns, loans, a split image of my signature on our tax return beside the looser, longer version on the retirement loan forms. "Franklin withdrew $68,000 from our future," I said. "Without my consent. He forged my name. He funded the affair while my son planned a life." A quiet rage vibrated in the crowd. People who had trusted him stared as if seeing him for the first time. "And Eden," I added, "filed false invoices at her firm. Wire transfers appeared, the shell company name, the small amounts that add up. I've already shared this with the appropriate people." Eden's father, the well-known attorney, turned a color I had never seen on a human face. He pressed his lips into a bloodless line and did not look at his daughter. Eden's voice finally broke through the hush. "It's not like that," she whispered. "I love." Ray clicked again. The text thread appeared. "Positive. Don't worry, Franklin. He'll think the baby is his." Time fractured. Eden's bouquet slipped. The officiant stared at his book as if it might offer instructions for this moment. "Noah," I said softly and turned to my son, "you can end this now." Noah stepped forward, took the microphone, and scanned the faces of people who had been his childhood witnesses. "There will be no wedding today," he said. "Please go home safely. My mother will walk out with me. Dad, you will stay." Eden took one step toward him. "Noah, please." He stopped her with a small raise of his hand. "You do not speak to me again," he said, voice flat. "Ever." Franklin laughed then. It was a short, desperate sound. "Fine," he said. "You've had your theater. We can discuss this privately. We can." Ray clicked once more. A simple photograph appeared. A boy at a bus stop, sunlight on his cheek. Eyes like Franklin's. A date overlay. "This is Jamie," I said. "He is 16. He is Franklin's son." A sound left Franklin I had never heard. Something between a shout and a moan. He stepped backward and hit the arbor. "Enough," he said hoarsely. "Turn it off." Ray didn't move. She was already signaling to two plainclothes officers near the tent. They weren't there for Franklin. Not yet. Fraud against a spouse is civil and slow. They were there for something else. "Eden Klein?" one officer asked, stepping forward. "Ward, you're under arrest on suspicion of theft by deception and wire fraud." The silver bracelets clicked. The crowd's murmur rose, then hushed. Eden's mother covered her mouth. Eden's father did nothing. Franklin made a run for it, because of course he did. He barreled down the aisle, scattering petals like a guilty parade. Ray stepped neatly to the side and stuck out a foot. He pitched forward, palms skidding on white fabric, then lay there breathing hard. "Going somewhere?" Ray asked. The garden dissolved. Guests drifted to their cars. Some offered Noah a hug. Others stared. A few looked at me with pity. Pity's not a bad thing. It means people saw what was real. We gave statements. We handed over copies. We made strong tea. Noah sat with me until the sky went dark blue and the lanterns looked like small moons. "It's over, Mom," he said. "Or at least the wedding part is." "I'm sorry," I said. He shook his head. "You saved me. If you're still with me, would you tap the like button and comment the number 1 below? It tells me you're here and helps this story reach someone who needs it. Comment 1, and I'll keep going." News travels fast when it's dressed in white lace and sirens. Bride arrested at altar. Savings stolen for affair. Secret son discovered. I learned how many people consume their neighbor's pain as breakfast. I filed for divorce the next morning, just as I had planned without fully knowing why. Our lawyer moved quickly. Franklin's employer did not enjoy seeing their regional manager in soft-focus news footage. He resigned. The financial forensics were boring and brutal. They always are. I got the house, restitution, and the accounts he hadn't noticed I separated 18 months earlier when my bones started sensing storms. Noah quit his job at the firm where Eden had introduced him to the partners. He enrolled in a landscape design program and started mapping the world with trees and stone. He said building beauty made him breathe again. Eden took a plea. She'll pay back what she took. Her parents moved to a smaller town. People pretend they forgive, but they keep lists. A letter came in a plain envelope. Lila, she wrote, I'm sorry, I was 20. I didn't want to blow up your life. He promised he would fix it. He never did. Jamie asked to meet his brother. I sat with the letter for 3 days. Rage is heavy, but so is compassion. Both build muscle. We met at a little park halfway between our towns. Noah and I brought 2 iced teas and a bag of churros. Lila was tired around the eyes but kind. Jamie stood with his hands in his hoodie pocket like every 16-year-old who has ever lived. He looked at Noah and smiled with half his mouth. Noah smiled back all the way. We did not mention Franklin. We talked about algebra and movie remakes and how the park really needed a bench under the live oak. Noah sketched one on a napkin. Jamie said, That's actually cool. We met again and again. The world did not burn down. It got quieter. A year later, Franklin knocked on my new townhouse door. He had lost the gloss. He looked like a man who knew what gravity feels like. I'm in counseling, he said. I know that doesn't change anything. I'm sorry. I forgive you, I said. It surprised me how true it felt. Not for you, for me. But I will never build a life with you again. He nodded. A small mercy passed between us. He left. The silence he left behind was clean. Noah designs calm into chaotic spaces now. He puts boulders where people need to sit and breathe. He met someone who reads more than he does and looks at him like sunlight. They plant herbs in wide pots and argue about basil like it could change the world. I host Sunday dinners twice a month. Sometimes Jamie comes. He brings awkward jokes and perfect timing. Lila brings a pie. We talk about small things because small things are where life lives. My sister Ray pretends she doesn't like dessert and then eats half the pie. The house is smaller. The quiet is bigger. I can hear my own tea. Hinking again. It says, tell the truth quickly. Check the bulbs twice. Serve tea hot. Love the people who love you back. If you are listening from a kitchen at dawn with something heavy in your chest, this is for you. You are not crazy. Evidence is not cruelty. Clarity is not a crime. The people who tell you to keep family secrets quiet are protecting their comfort, not your heart. Show the receipts. Safeguard your accounts. Call the auntie with the good instincts. Protect your children. Protect your future. Forgiveness is yours to grant when you're ready, but trust is not a blanket you hand back to the person who burned it. On the morning of my son's wedding, I learned my marriage had ended a long time ago. By afternoon, we ended a performance that had gone on too long. By evening, we began something new, not perfect, not grand, but honest. Thank you for spending this time with me. If any part of my story resonated, I would be honored if you'd like this video and subscribe. Tell me what at city you're from in the comments. And if you've ever had to choose truth over comfort, share as much or as little as you want. Your story matters here. Be kind to yourself today. Drink water. Step into sunlight for 5 minutes. And remember, quiet peace is better than loud pretending. I'll see you next time.